Come in, Mr. Martin. Please take a seat. I'll be with you momentarily.
Who are you?
Please be sure to shut the door.
Sure. Where am I?
Just one moment. All set?
What's going on here?
Didn't they tell you?
Didn't who tell me what?
Your escorts. Didn't they tell you?
My escorts? I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh dear, you must have made a very sudden departure. Just 1 second. Yes, indeed, very sudden.
Very sudden?
Extremely so, just walking along when it happened.
When what happened?
Mr. Martin, what is the last thing you remember before you came here?
I was partying with my friends at Tico's. It was a Friday night. Time to let loose. I was going to meet Susan at her place. Beautiful girl. You wouldn't believe the, Anyway, I was just walking along, and then here I am. So where is here?
Mr. Martin, simply put, after you left the establishment, you walked about 3 blocks before your body succumbed to acute alcohol poisoning.
Meaning what exactly?
Mr. Martin, at 10:47 p.m., Earth time, April 23rd, you died.
Okay, please call me Jack. I'm not used to this Mr. Martin stuff, and... What did you say?
Jack, you're dead.
Dead.
Deceased.
Deceased.
Expired. Passed away. You have kicked the proverbial bucket. You have bought the proverbial barn. Do you get my drift?
I think you're full of it. Who put you up to this? Charlie? Max? I'm not dead.
I understand your desire to deny the truth, Jack, but your life is over.
My life is not over.
You were 35 years old, reasonably well off, in decent health, except for your drinking problem.
I do not have a drinking problem.
Did have a drinking problem. Past tense.
I can't be dead. My heart's still beating.
No, it isn't. What you hear and feel are the perceptions of sensations to which you grew accustomed to during life. You are a soul now. Your body is a hollow shell that collapsed on the street. You feel your head throbbing, your breathing, your heartbeat only because your mind still expects it. Once you have come to realize you are dead, your mind will slowly let go of its life functions. For some people, this happens quickly. For others, it takes a long time. It just matters on how strong your cling to life is.
You're damn right I have a strong cling to life. I'm not giving up because I'm not dead. If I'm dead, how come my watch is still?
Yes, Jack?
My watch. It stopped at 10:47 p.m.
Yes, Jack. Time is meaningless now. We could sit here forever and argue about whether or not you are dead, and no one would think you were anywhere else.
So, what are you?
What I am is a receptionist. I receive new souls upon departure from death, and in most cases, a soul is provided with 2 escorts to describe the recent occurrences. To make my job easier. I help process new arrivals and then send them on their way to their final destination.
What's your name?
Delia.
Pretty name.
Thank you.
So it doesn't matter whether I stay or go?
I won't receive any new arrivals until you do.
Convenient.
So, have you accepted the fact that you are dead?
Not quite yet. I like to keep my options open.
I see. Yes, you seem to exercise quite a number of options, didn't you?
I went with the flow. I live by instinct.
Right. Do you know where you are?
Let me guess. Purgatory, right?
Exactly. Some religions might call this place limbo. You are here because your life was in balance with good and evil. It is my duty to determine your final destination.
You sound like a stewardess.
And you sound like most of the macho jerks I dated when I was alive.
When you were... Wait a second.
Yes, I'm dead.
How?
I took a swan dive off a waterfall
Why?
because I couldn't stand the hurt anymore. I couldn't stand to have men like you treat me like I was worthless. I wanted to be free.
And are you free?
Yes, because now I can be who I want. Yes, I work here, and that's just a little perk to committing suicide, but I get the time off to be the person I wanted to be when I was alive.
I'm sorry.
Are you?
Yes! I said I was.
Are you sorry about Jean Dietz?
Who?
You don't even remember her name. She was a starry-eyed sophomore in college. You took her in your arms, seduced her, and got her pregnant, and then tossed her to the curb like garbage. That was 3 years ago. Remember now, Jack?
You don't understand.
Oh, but I do understand. To you, women are subordinate creatures meant to cater to the whims of men like yourself. What sickens me is some women go along with it, like Donna Mitchell.
Donna.
You left her at the altar. She even knew what you were. And her father almost went into hock to pay for that wedding. And you never showed up.
I think I'm in hell.
I don't know where you're going. That's what I'm here to help determine.
By berating me with my past.
That's part of the procedure.
Oh, God.
Speaking of God, let's talk about your religious principles.
Yes, let's!
How many times did you go to church last year?
Once.
What was that?
Once!
Right, once. Midnight mass on Christmas Eve. And you were blind, stinking drunk.
I went, didn't I?
Yes, and there's something to be said for that.
And just because I go to church doesn't mean I have to like it.
That's a very popular attitude, which is shaking the very roots of religion.
Religion needs to be shooken up a bit.
What about work?
What about work?
What kind of work did you do?
Can't you pull that up on your little screen there?
You were a graphic artist, and a very talented one, I might add.
A compliment!
You designed the artwork for many commercial products, including toys. You even won a couple of awards for your work. It's hard to believe
What's hard to believe?
that a person like you could be responsible for making so many people happy.
But that's the kind of guy I am. I like to make people happy.
Then how come you were so adept at making people miserable?
What's that supposed to mean?
The only person you ever went deliberately out of your way to make happy was yourself. And it didn't matter what you had to do to be happy.
That's not true.
It isn't? What about Marion Donnelly?
What about her?
She was a happily married woman, kind, loving, faithful. And you romanced her until she was forced to give in to you. You used her for 2 weeks and then tossed her back to her husband.
She had someone to go back to.
No, you did something to her. She wasn't able to love her husband anymore. And I'm not just talking about sex. She can't even stand to be near him. You poisoned her, Jack.
That's a strong way of putting it.
That's an accurate way of putting it.
Wait, you said I'm here because my life was a balance between good and evil. So what about the good things I've done?
Smart move, Jack. Let's look at that, shall we? When you were 12, you saved your little brother's life.
Jimmy.
Tell me about that.
Me and my friends used to play football every day after school. We would make teams and play two-hand touch from as soon as we got home until it got dark and our mothers called us home for dinner. Anyhow, Jimmy was 8. He watched us play. He wasn't allowed to be on the street, so he just sat on the curb. One day, we were playing, and Michael, playing the quarterback, overthrew a pass to me. Jimmy, who always wanted to be part of the group, went out to get the ball. I don't think he saw the car coming. Anyway, at first I turned to Michael to berate him for missing me when I was wide open. Then I saw Jimmy in the car. I ran towards him, but the driver must have been high or something because his eyes were glazed over and it didn't look like he was slowing down. I leaped to push Jimmy over. I knocked him out of the way, but the car sideswiped me in the leg. All I can remember hearing was the football exploding as the car ran over it. Jimmy started crying and the pain started in my leg. Michael went into the house to get my mother and she drove us to the hospital. Jimmy was fine, but the force of the car practically demolished my ankle. It took them a couple of hours of surgery just to put the damn thing back together. I was never able to play football again. Even when Jimmy was old enough to play, I just had to live out my dreams on the curb.
Wow. Had you ever dreamed of becoming a professional athlete?
What 12-year-old doesn't?
Well, girls, usually.
Fair enough. What did you want to be when you were 12?
I wanted to be beautiful.
Why?
I don't know. I wasn't really interested in boys at that point. I guess I was just brought up to think that I should want to be beautiful.
You know what? You are beautiful.
Jack, don't try.
You should know beauty isn't outer and everything about that. I mean, you show beauty in your dedication to what you do. Bizarre as it may be.
Bizarre?
I mean, not your standard everyday occupation now, is it?
Perhaps not if I were still alive.
So you're still under the impression that we're both dead.
I know what I believe. What I need to know is what you believe.
Why does that matter?
I can't rightly send you on your way if you still think that you're alive.
Why?
Do you know what a ghost is?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about a white sheet or a chain dragging thing that goes bump in the night.
Oh.
A ghost is the soul of a person that clings too tightly to life. When that person has reached the reception area here, was sent to their final destination, but the final destination had not yet been determined.
So they didn't think they were dead, and their soul went wayward?
Exactly, Jack. The soul, instead of ascending to heaven or descending to hell, drops back down to earth where it spends eternity.
Trapped? No way back up here?
No way back up here. You see, in a sense, those individuals have created their own final destinations, but we are unable to keep track of them, so they go on forever being ghosts. That's why many people have the impression that ghosts are angry spirits.
Why?
Well, you'd be pretty upset too if you had nothing to do for 1,000 years, and the 1,000 after that, and the 1,000 after that.
I suppose.
So it is extremely important that you accept your situation so that you can get on with your afterlife.
What about you?
What about me?
Are you going to be sitting at this computer terminal forever?
No, from what I understand, I won't be. I will be here as long as my life would have been if I hadn't have killed myself.
And do you know how much time you have left?
30 or so years, probably longer.
So, let's say, and wait, our bodies don't age when we're dead, right?
Right.
So, let's say in about 30 years or so, can I buy you a drink?
In 30 years, I'll probably have forgotten enough about you that I won't mind.
That's assuming we have the same final destination.
Good point.
So tell me about heaven.
Well, it's a lot like living on Earth. You have a job and a
Work?
home.
In heaven?
It's mostly about keeping your mind active so that you don't get lazy.
What if you don't like your job?
That's the best part about it. You can change whatever you don't like.
What about relationships?
Like what?
You know, social activities, relationships?
Do you mean women you can mess around with?
Maybe.
Yes, Jack. Remember that heaven is a but remember that heaven is a reward for people who live a good life. You can't go screwing around like you did on Earth. Women deserve to be happy as well.
I guess so.
Well, Jack, have you figured out your dad?
I haven't told anyone else about Marion.
Just a formality. Drink this and you'll be on your way.
Well, see ya. Here's to you, kid. So where's my final destination?
Oh my God.
Your final destination? Right here, Jack. Hello, Mr. Donnelly. This is Delia. I just wanted to let you know that our little problem has been taken care of. And I'd like to say I'm so sorry about what he did to your wife.
Oh my God.
But this man will never bother anyone again.